Just $7.99, but for a limited time. So hurry to Red Lobster. And for holidays at home, party platters to go, ready in just 1 hour.
As I said, this is a photo.
American business leaders meet with President Bush at the White House as the president promises to deal with the new realities facing American industry.
This is NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw, reporting tonight from NBC News headquarters in New York.
Good evening. Now it's much more than a question of how America emerges from this recession. The challenge is much greater than that, and President Bush tried to demonstrate today that he is ready to take on Japan in a big way. We have NBC's John Cochran at the White House tonight on the president's strategy. John?
Tom, the president is trying to make a virtue of necessity. He knows the political wolves will be out for him when he travels to Asia and Australia after Christmas. So today he tried to turn that trip into an asset. Bush called in business leaders he has invited to accompany him to Asia, including automakers like GM Chairman Robert Stemple, who announced drastic layoffs yesterday. Bush seemed ready to get tougher with the Japanese.
But I would say that the trip is to break down intransigence where we find it and have freer and fairer trade. And that message I will carry very, very forcefully.
It's a realization on the part of this administration, a new determination, I would say, to go to Japan. Let's start with them, and we got a $40 billion intractable trade deficit, and start to hack away at it and see what they're going to do about it.
In the past, dealing with the Japanese, Bush has played the part of good cop and let Congress be the bad cop. Bush would tell Japanese leaders, gosh, if you don't open up your markets, then Congress will put restrictions on your products. Today, Bush sounded tougher, but he also sounded vague.
Well, we're going over there to try to get some things done, and I don't need to go into exactly.
Some good news for Bush. The U.S. trade deficit dropped in October because of record exports. And some bad news. Almost 80,000 more people filed for unemployment compensation the first week of December. And with giant firms like GM and IBM cutting back, where will new jobs come from?
Well, one thing it'll come from is creating new businesses, probably more small businesses. And that's why we do need to put more incentive into our own economy.
And the president's aides grumble that consumer confidence would increase if the news media would only stop emphasizing the negative and start looking for some silver linings. Tom?
Thank you, John Cochran. And now to Chief Financial Correspondent Mike Jensen. Mike, it's a little hard to find those silver linings if they're not there.
Tom, the economy is in trouble partly because the world has changed, become more competitive, and partly because in the U.S. we've been living over our heads on borrowed money for more than a decade.
The result is this.
We want jobs!
A storm front has swept through the American economy, forcing plant closings and layoffs in one company after another. It is not simply the result of the recession. It's the response of American companies to fierce competition from overseas. In many cases, a response that is long overdue.
The people with the top quality and the lowest cost, the best value, if you will, to the customer, will be the ones that survive.
For 30 years after World War II, American companies sold their products all over the world. Many became complacent. Then in the 1980s, the rest of the world caught up. The Japanese with cars and electronics, well-made and cheap because of low labor rates. Products from other countries in the Far East, like Korea, and from Germany and Great Britain. American companies lost business. They had to fight for every order, not only overseas, but also in the United States. The steel industry was hit hard, also electronics, and of course, autos. Meantime, through the 80s, America tried to act as though it was still king of the mountain, spending and borrowing, individuals using plastic, companies often by selling junk bonds, and the government racking up enormous deficits. For the economy to be robust, debt has to be reduced, and the process has begun. Individuals are cutting back. Companies are borrowing less. But the government still is spending far more than it takes in. On top of that, there's the recession. which normally is the economic equivalent of catching cold. Unpleasant, but you get over it. But with all the debt and the foreign competition, it's not that easy to pull out of this recession.
The trick is to keep a cold from turning into pneumonia. That means more cutbacks by companies to be competitive and a lot less borrowing by the government. Tom?
Michael, even if this recession ends in the autumn of 1992 or shortly after that, what about getting out of America out of the economic doldrums? Is that going to take the rest of the decade?
Well, it could very well, Tom. A lot of economists think that we'll be out of the recession perhaps as early as next spring, but they have been consistently over-optimistic. And big companies are saying that they do not intend to have a wave of hiring when this recession ends. That's something they typically do at the end of a recession. The debt, it took us a decade to get into it, and it could very well take a decade to get out of it.
Thanks very much. Mike Jensen, NBC's chief financial correspondent. When Nightly News continues in a moment, BCCI, a big guilty plea and a big chunk of money to the government.
And did you have any conversation?
And tonight's crime and punishment. Rape victims filing civil lawsuits in addition to criminal suits. Bill Schechner tells us the result is controversy.
Imagine you, a millionaire at American Family. Lots of all new $1 million prizes. And the biggest prize of all, $10 million. It's like entering dozens of sweepstakes with a single entry. You get all new chances to get really rich, even super rich. You can win $10 million next month. You may have the winning number right now in the only sweepstakes with my picture. Last chance to enter before I announce the winning number. Hurry.
You can count on Sears for great Christmas values. Save $15 on this Kenmore Choice coffee maker, our best coffee maker at our lowest price ever. Just $29.99. But only through Saturday, only at Sears.
Minolta's Freedom Line.
Great gift anytime.
It's on my list, you know.
Get closer this holiday season with any of the Freedom Zooms. Season's greetings from Minolta.
The Arab owners of the defunct Bank of Credit and Commerce International, at the center of a global scandal, today threw in the towel. They pleaded guilty to U.S. racketeering charges and forfeited bank assets of more than $500 million. NBC's Brian Ross broke this BCCI story, and he's here now with the latest. Brian?
Tom, today's guilty plea ends any doubt that BCCI was indeed the bank of crooks and criminals international. And it could mean very bad news for all the prominent Americans who were once so eager to help BCCI and ask for its money. The deal was announced with great fanfare at the Justice Department, where BCCI cases had languished for months and months. Attorney General William Barr said an important part of the deal is that prosecutors finally should have access to BCCI's most secret records overseas.
And by requiring full BCCI cooperation in ongoing investigations, allows us to expedite the pursuit and prosecution of the individuals involved in the bank's wrongdoing around the world.
New documents could help the criminal investigations of former Defense Secretary Clark Clifford and his law partner Robert Altman, who ran the Washington bank BCCI admitted today it had secretly taken over. Clifford and Altman have denied any wrongdoing. Former BCCI advisor Bert Lance, who is cooperating with authorities, says more evidence also will lead prosecutors to the CIA's role in BCCI.
I mean, I'm not saying you understand that the CIA started out to make them an agency of corruption. They started out to use them for the facilitation of whatever they were doing around the world.
That BCCI's critics...
BCCI's secret records may also shed more light on the bank's dealings with Senator Orrin Hatch, with former Atlanta Mayor Andrew Young, with the American ambassador in Bahrain, Charles Hostler, and with former President Jimmy Carter, who, as of last year, had received almost $8 million from BCCI for the Carter Center in Atlanta and other nonprofit projects.
Whatever they committed that was against the law, I condemn very seriously.
Most of the case against BCCI was developed by the district attorney in New York, Robert Morgenthau, who law enforcement authorities say was the real moving force behind today's action.
This should expedite our investigation of people who use the bank for criminal purposes or were involved directly with the bank.
The other key part of today's deal is that the government gets to keep half of the $550 million in BCCI money already seized in this country. The money is now supposed to be used to bail out 2 American banks BCCI secretly took over. The Independence Bank of Encino, California, said to be near collapse, and the huge First American Bank in Washington, which has lost more than $1 billion in deposits this year. Tom?
Thanks, Brian. 3 years ago this week, Pan Am Flight 103 was blown out of the skies over Scotland by a bomb so small it was hidden in a radio packed in a suitcase. 270 people died. That started a search for an airplane design able to survive such a terror attack. More now from NBC's Robert Hager.
In the remote foothills of Northern California, a scientist stuffs plastic explosive into a miniature model of an aircraft luggage container. The models are lined up as containers would be in the hold of a jumbo jet. Experts are amazed at the destructive power of just a small amount of explosive. In secret government tests, the Federal Aviation Administration has blown up real fuselages with the same result. It doesn't take much to do a lot of damage. The testing has new urgency because investigators now believe the Pan Am plane was down by less than 1 pound of plastique. And officials now reluctantly admit the best luggage screening technology known still can't reliably spot bombs that small. That's why researchers are concentrating on those luggage containers. Could they be redesigned to make planes bomb-proof, at least against smaller explosions? Researchers at SRI International are testing a wrapper of strong synthetic material to put around the containers. After an explosion, the wrapper appears intact, having kept debris from blasting out the side or top, directing the shock instead lengthways. In the hold of a plane, the lengthways shock might be better absorbed. But another firm, Omega Engineering, feels it's safer to build a container which purposely directs an explosion out of the plane. Its researchers note that if a hole doesn't get too big, it won't cause a crash. This plane managed to return to Honolulu after a cargo door failure. And this plane made it back to Athens with a hole blown by a bomb. Omega's container is designed with one side weakest, so the shock waves of the explosion come out that panel only. That side also has sharp edges, meant to slice a neat hole, quickly vent the pressure into the air, and keep the rest of the plane intact. The FAA, which once ridiculed the idea of trying to make planes bomb-proof, now believes it's possible, and that a bomb like that aboard Pan Am 103 need never again cost so many lives. Robert Hager, NBC News, Washington.
On Wall Street today, the Dow Industrials closed up after a late rally. Trading today was heavy.
Can a razor cut your beard off below the skin without the blades even touching your face? It can if it's a Norelco. Norelco's patented lift and cut system lifts the hair, so when it's cut, it can actually drop below skin level without the blades even touching your face. Are you getting a shave this incredibly close and exceptionally comfortable? You are when you shave with Norelco. Norelco, we make close comfortable.
Sinus pain?
Yeah, it feels like somebody's jabbing you with an ice pick.
Look, all these sinus pain formulas have the same medicine.
I didn't know that.
But Dristan Sinus contains ibuprofen.
I'll try Dristan Sinus. I feel great. Ice picks are gone.
Dristan, the face of relief today.
Do your holiday shopping with the Discover card, and you'll not only give, you'll receive a cashback bonus for every charge. It pays to Discover.
What does it feel like to slip your feet into a pair of isotoner slippers? Relaxing. Soothing. Isotoner slippers. Doesn't someone you know deserve a pair?
You can count on Sears for great Christmas values at our fine jewelry sale. Emeralds, rubies, gold, watches, even diamonds are 25 to 65% below comparable values elsewhere. A great sale, only at Sears now.
Our daily difference now, crime and punishment. It's not unusual for rape victims, of course, to file criminal charges against their assailants. But more and more, they're now filing civil charges as well and collecting big settlements. But is justice served? NBC's Bill Schechner has more tonight.
October 26, 1987, Corpus Christi, Texas.
Julie Blisky, a nurse, was asleep in her condominium.
I was awoken about 4 o'clock in the morning with a soft hand over my mouth telling me to lie still and to hand over my valuables. And then I was sexually assaulted, and it's just your worst fears coming true.
There was an arrest and a trial. Rapist Brian Ewers was convicted and is now in prison. But the incident wasn't over. There was a second trial here at the courthouse in Corpus Christi. This time, Julie Blisky brought the case. On trial, the managers of her apartment complex. This was Blisky's case. The property managers turned down her request for a keyless lock. So, when the rapist broke into the poorly protected management office, got her name from unlocked files which showed she lived alone, took her key off a rack labeled by unit numbers, he simply let himself into her apartment.
They practically handed that rapist my key, and I decided that I would press civil charges against him.
It's part of a growing trend. Civil lawsuits by rape victims against those responsible for the property where the rape occurred. Aurelia Garcia, a clerk in a Boston convenience store, was raped by a man who came to rob the store.
That's when he came up behind me and grabbed me around the neck and started dragging me back to the back of the store. Then he started to rape me.
Garcia said the owners should have installed a silent alarm to alert the police. On the second day of trial, the owners settled the case for $600,000. But there is more at stake than financial damages, according to rape counselors like Marianne Barkley, who helped Julie Blisky.
It's a way for the victims to get back some of the control, because in a situation where a person is being sexually assaulted, you have no control.
Isn't that something, though, that more properly belongs in therapy or counseling than in a court of law?
But this is also a way to get through that anger and helplessness, which eventually leads to feeling more in control of your life.
In Julie Blisky's case, the jury awarded her $17 million. If the award stands, it will set a record for such cases. Jurors say they wanted to send a message the management company would hear.
To me, that night, the Julie Blisky that existed before died.
If that's true, how is any amount of money going to make any difference?
It might prevent it in the future.
But Annette Berry, owner of the management company, says the condos are in a safe neighborhood and security was in line with that history.
I feel that I have been victimized just as much as Ms. Blisky has.
She says the jury was manipulated by a high-powered lawyer.
Transferring guilt has become a real thing in our system, that it's find somebody else to make it fault.
I wanted them to be responsible for what they had allowed to happen.
Lawsuits like Julie Blisky's have been described as revenge, therapy, justice. Whatever they are changing the law. Bill Schechner, NBC News, Corpus Christi.
In a moment, more news, including some real screamers from Japan.
That's a great price for 1 pound Whitman samplers.
I'm very fond of the caramel.
We can even box out for Santa.
Good idea.
Right. Santa really scarfed down those caramels last year.
This is the camera I'm getting for Daddy, the Minolta Freedom 105i. It's got a power zoom lens and intelligent autofocusing.
You mean the camera's smart?
Yes, because it always did its homework. Kmart's actually made Christmas shopping easy.
Yeah, I'll just pull the 18-wheeler around back.
Think about your daydreams and what you would do if you won $1 million out of the blue. Miracles can happen for you. Publishers Clearinghouse, the heart.
A kiss? No, I'm sorry. I don't think so.
Oh, please, no, baby, no.
Oh, not a good idea. Not now.
No, bad time.
Fight morning breath with Scope. Scope has 2 powerful ingredients that kill 90% of the bacteria that cause morning breath.
Your kiss is ready. Pucker up.
Right on the kisser.
Come on. Kiss morning breath goodbye with Scope.
Give me that kiss.
I was a dedicated beard wearer until my wife gave me the new Remington Microscreen Elite. It's quick. It's close. The Remington Microscreen Elite has 2 ultra-thin screens. So comfortable, shaves as close as a blade or your money back. That's Remington.
You know, I grew up thinking that nothing had more iron than spinach. But ounce for ounce, prunes have the same amount. And they're a much better snack.
Sweet, delicious California prunes. Find out how good they really are.
A quick check now of some of today's other news. For months, New York Governor Mario Cuomo has been agonizing over whether to run for president. The big deadline tomorrow may finally force his hand. It is the last day to file for the February 18th New Hampshire primary. So, what did the governor say today? Just this, quote, I am just about at the point where you really can't avoid saying something reasonably decisive. End of quote. Translation, who knows? Russia's Boris Yeltsin was in Italy meeting that country's president today, but back home his republic took over some of the last vestiges of the Soviet Union, the Kremlin, most government agencies, and Mikhail Gorbachev's office. The Soviet collapse was topic A as Secretary of State Baker met with his NATO counterparts in Belgium. On the agenda, Western recognition of the newly independent republics, humanitarian aid, and control of the Soviet nuclear arsenal. Another country transformed in recent months, South Africa. Notorious for an apartheid system that subjugates that country's black majority, South Africa is trying to chart a new course. Negotiations begin tomorrow on a new constitution. However, as NBC's Charles McLean reports tonight, change does come hard.
Nelson Mandela will be there with a delegation from the African National Congress. South African President F.W. de Klerk will be accompanied by 11 government officials. But not all blacks and not all whites will be represented at the Convention for a Democratic South Africa. Mandela's rival for black leadership, Mangosuthu Buthelezi, pulled out last night when convention officials said his ally, Zulu King Goodwill Zwelithini, was not eligible for a seat at the negotiating table.
I could not possibly go up there and participate, leaving the king outside.
Among whites, the Conservative Party and the far-right Afrikaner resistance movement were both invited, but said no. An embarrassing reminder to the government that an increasing number of whites challenged President de Klerk's mandate to negotiate a non-racial future for South Africa. Local farmers like Wessels Venter are determined to keep their land in white hands.
It belongs to us and it will belong to our children. This is our whole life.
Veterinarian Ernest Redlinghase fears the new democracy will be just another name for black domination of the white nation.
Winner will take all, and it's not going to be a joke. That is not democracy. That is subjugation of different nations.
And on the far right, passions, hatred, and fear run deep.
Because we'll never accept a black Kaffir government. Never.
You see this child? If this were my child, I'll rather kill him before I see him married to a black lady. You want to understand me? I'll rather kill him before I see him married to a black lady.
De Klerk and Mandela probably represent most whites and most blacks in South Africa. But the absence of key players like Buthelezi and the Conservative Party could deny legitimacy to both the peace process and the future constitution it produces. Charles McLean, NBC News, Johannesburg.
When President Bush goes to Japan next month, he promises tough talk. But tone is one thing, volume another. Today, the Japanese held their national shouting competition. And like sashimi, it is an acquired taste.
Some days my minor arthritis acts up, and I really feel the pain. I used to take aspirin. Now I've switched to Advil. Advil relieves the pain in my stiff joints. In fact, one Advil is as effective as 2 regular aspirin. And Advil is gentler to my stomach. Maybe that's why doctors recommend Advil for minor arthritis pain more than any other brand. For my pain, I simply prefer Advil. Advil, advanced medicine for pain.
At Red Lobster, it only happens through Sunday. And it's just $7.99. Introducing a brand new shrimp combination. And wait till you taste it. First, we took a touch of honey and created new honey barbecue shrimp. Then the tang of lemon for new lemon broiled shrimp. Two new tastes together at a special low price, just $7.99. But this offer ends Sunday, so hurry to Red Lobster. And for holidays at home, party platters to go, ready in just 1 hour.
Searching for the perfect shave? Let Norelco show you what it's like from the inside. Here, there's a system for a close, comfortable shave that exists in no other razor. Our patented lift and cut system lifts the hair so when it's cut, it can actually drop below skin level without the blades even touching your face. So to look better on the surface, remember, Norelco shaves below the surface. Norelco, we make close, comfortable.
What does it feel like to slip your feet into a pair of isotoner slippers? Relaxing. Soothing. Isotoner slippers. Doesn't someone you know deserve a pair?
Now you don't need a prescription to get prescription strength medicine for itches and rashes. Introducing new Maximum Strength Cord-Aid. Now with twice the healing medicine. New Maximum Strength Cord-Aid. Prescription strength without a prescription.
For all the talk about the grim Christmas shopping season, there still are lots of folks out there with big bucks and a need to show off. Shopping for the rich tonight? NBC's Irving R. Levine.
'Tis the season to be frugal, but merchants still hope there's a market for the expensive and the ridiculous. Like a mechanical pony for practicing your polo game, $12,000. There's nothing quite like a personalized gift. A totem pole at $2,000 a foot, custom carved to depict your family history.
Imagine your own family's totem outside your home.
Speaking of works of art, prints of this artist's paintings available in a limited edition. If that doesn't blow your mind, this gift is actually designed to.
Your brainwaves will slow down.
The Mind Trainer with a choice of lights and sounds to stimulate brain creativity or serenity.
Let go.
Here's another mind game.
It's my turn.
A computerized chessboard that not only outmaneuvers you, but taunts you at the same time.
Only a salesman would play a dumb move like that.
At the Sharper Image chain, this suit of armor marked down from $6,000, a concession to hard times. But Neiman Marcus rejects the notion that a tough economy means renouncing extravagances, such as bar stools with legs modeled after African animals, or the store's annual his and her matching gifts. Hummers, civilian versions of the Desert Storm vehicles, $100,000 for the pair. In a less expensive category, foot comfort at a time when many Americans are pounding the pavement. Or liquid-filled inner soles massage your feet while you walk. Always popular, labor-saving gifts. Just push a button, no need to turn this snow globe from Hammaker Schlemmer Company upside down, only $130. And for the busy executive, a paper-thin electric razor.
And it gives you a terrific shave right here. That's bad.
Oh, well. Here's one labor-saving device that does work.
That's Nightly News. I'm Tom Brokaw.
Tonight is the night, a celebration for Cliff. He's giving his wife a surprise Christmas gift. Can miracles happen for Whitley and Dwayne? Can guest Debbie Allen get them together again? The holiday cheers could be shocking for Sam, and a Wings getaway becomes a terrible jam. For a night of great laughter, there's one place to be. A Holiday Thursday on NBC.
Tomorrow morning, Beatty.
You should ask your mother to call me.
Costner.